Good afternoon, Bettendorf Middle Schoolers. I'm back again to share another virtual book chat with you from our Mac and Via ebook database. It's a little chilly today. It's kind of rainy, so I do have the fireplace going. Actually, it was so cold I put on a scarf, and I also combed my hair, which was a good thing today. So I am ready to share another book with you from Mac and Via. So we'll get that in present mode so you can see my screen. All right. So today is Wednesday, April 29th. Doesn't feel much like a spring day, but I hear that the weekend's supposed to be pretty good. So the book that I chose to share with you today is a realistic fiction selection called Lily and Duncan. It was nominated for the Iowa Teen Award this year, and I didn't get a chance to book talk it with, I don't think I got a chance to book talk it with anybody. It's by Donna Gephardt, and we do have another book by Donna Gephardt in our school library. We don't have it in Mac and Via, though. I like this book because it has to do with some very middle school issues as far as tolerance and acceptance go. So I hope you will give it a read after you listen to my book talk. One of the main characters is Lily Jo McGrother or McGrother. Lily was born a boy and named Tim, but identifies as a female and has changed her name to Lily Jo. So in the story, you do learn that originally the character's name was Tim, but the name that the character ultimately goes by is Lily because that's how they identify. Well, about 6 days before 8th grade is supposed to start, Lily tries on one of his mom's dresses and a pair of shoes and is walking around the house and actually goes outside. I think she climbs a tree and actually waves at somebody walking outside. Well, the person that she waves to is actually another teen who's about to start school as a new student at Lily's school. So the first time that this character sees Lily, he sees her as a girl or dressed as a girl. Well, anyway, that same day, Lily decides to test the waters a little bit with her father. So when he gets home from grocery shopping, she goes out to help carry in the groceries, still wearing mom's dress and shoes. And the dad, who is struggling to accept the fact that his child is transgender, wants Lily to go back in the house. And he says something to the effect, which I will read to you in my little excerpt today, that, it's okay to walk around the house like this, but you can't go outside like this. Well, deep down, what Lily really wants to do is to start school in the way that she feels, wants to dress like a girl, feels like a girl. So she's still trying to get her father to be supportive of that, but it's a struggle. Now, the character that Lily had waved to is Norbert, and a couple days later, Lily is out in the same tree and sees Norbert walking along the sidewalk again, but this time Lily is dressed as a boy and hops down out of the tree, and Norbert and Lily proceed to go to Dunkin Donuts to have some donuts and to chat. And eventually Norbert does ask about that red dress, and Lily tries to cover it up and just says, well, I did it on a dare, and isn't quite ready to share the real reason behind wearing that dress. Norbert, who really doesn't care for his name, and shares that with Lily, and Lily suggests, well, why don't you go by the name Duncan? So Duncan, the character, is now referred to as Duncan throughout the story. Now, something that Duncan doesn't share right away with Lily is the fact that he is bipolar, which means that he suffers from mood swings, going from tremendous highs to tremendous lows. And his condition is controlled with medication. But this isn't something that gets shared right away with Lily. Once school starts, Lily does go to school at the request of her father, dressed as a boy. However, it doesn't make any difference. The teasing and the bullying start right away that first day of 8th grade. Norbert, or Duncan, as we now know him by, also has had his share of troubles in previous years with bullying and is desperate to fit in. So he doesn't say anything when he sees Lily being teased and called terrible names. And because Duncan is so desperate to fit in, I don't know if you can fake this, but pretends to be good at basketball and actually surprisingly becomes accepted by the very kids who are bullying Lily. And once he starts playing basketball, Duncan stops taking his medication for his bipolar condition, and this leads to some troubles too. So both Lily and Duncan are dealing with some pretty heavy things. Lily with being transgender and trying to be accepted by not just schoolmates, but also by family. And then Duncan, who is dealing with a very difficult condition of bipolarism. So some pretty heavy content, but I do think it's an important book that discusses the importance of tolerance and acceptance, especially at the middle school level. So I am going to read part of the first chapter of the book. The first chapter is pretty long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read part of it, just up until the point when Norbert, or Duncan, is coming down the street. And the graphic that I have up here while I'm reading How to Survive Middle School by Donna Gephardt, this book is in the Bettendorf Middle School Library collection. So if you do read Lily and Duncan on Mackenvia and you want to read another book by this author, this is something that you could look into over the summer, or you could check out in the fall when you return to school. Chapter 1 is called Girl. Lily Jo is not my name yet, but I'm working on that. That's why I'm in the closet, literally in Mom's walk-in closet, with Meatball at my heels. I scratch under Meatball's chin, and his tiny pink tongue pokes out the side of his mouth. He's adorable like that. Practice, I tell Meatball. Only 6 days until school starts. I have to do this. I can't. Have to. Can't. I almost feel my best friend, well, okay, my only friend, Dare, push me toward the dresses. Thinking about my plan for the first day of 8th grade makes my stomach drop, like I plunged over the crest of a roller coaster at Universal Studios. I'm not sure one other person going to Gator Lake Middle is dealing with what I am. Probably not one other person in the entire state of Florida. Statistically, I know that's not true because I looked up a lot of information on the internet, but it feels that way sometimes. Meatball's wagging his stubby tail so hard his whole body shakes. I wish the world were made of dogs. They love you 100% of the time, no matter what. I've got one for you, I tell Meatball as I pull a hanger from the rack. The past, the present, and the future all walk into a bar. I examine the summery red fabric, the tiny white flower print. I remember being with Mom when she bought this dress. Ready for the punchline? Meatball looks up at me with his big brown eyes, dark fur falling into them. It was tense. Silence. Holding the dress to my chest, I say, the past, the present, and the future all walk into a bar. It was tense. Get it? Meatball tilts his head as though he's trying hard to understand. I scratch under his chin to let him know he's such a good dog, and I'm a total dork for telling a grammar joke to an animal. Then I focus on the dress. These are lilies of the valley, Mom said, pointing to the flowers when we were in the store. She held the dress to her cheek for a moment. Those were my favorite flowers when I was growing up in Burlington, New Jersey. We had them in the garden in front of our house, near the pink azalea bushes. They smelled so good. I sniff the flowers now, as though the tiny bell-shaped blossoms will smell like anything other than a dress. I'm glad Dad's at Publix, I tell Meatball, and Mom's at her studio. Gives me time to put the first part of my plan into action. the practicing part. Half of me is so excited I could explode. It feels good to finally be doing this. The other half, where other people's voices jam together in my brain, is terrified. Excited, terrified. Yep, those are the right words. I take off my pajamas and let the dress slide over my body. The silky lining feels smooth and soft against my skin. It's hard to get the zipper up in the back. I consider going to Sarah's room and asking for help, but decide to do it myself, even though I know she would help me. When I was little, I tried on one of Sarah's old dresses, and I loved how it felt, how I felt in it. When Mom came home from work that day, she laughed and made me whirl and twirl. Even Dad laughed. Back then. What do you think? I asked Meatball, while I twirl, feeling the skirt of the dress drift up and back down against my legs. Meatball barks. I'll take that as an approval. He barks again. Or you might have to pee. I slip into Mom's sandals, barely believing my feet have now grown as large as hers, but they have. In her full-length mirror, I see how the top of the dress bags out. If only I had something up there to fill it out, like Mom and Sarah do. I consider grabbing one of Mom's bras and stuffing it with socks to see how it would look, how it would feel. A blaring car horn shatters my thoughts. Meatball barks. Scooping him under my arm, I put my face up close to his. Come on, let's help Dad carry in the groceries. He licks my nose. Oh, Meatball, your breath is so bad. He nuzzles into my arm. But your heart is so good. I kiss the top of his head. Hope Dad remembered Pop-Tarts, breakfast of champions. As we rush down the stairs, I hear Sarah's bedroom door open behind me. When we reach the bottom, I let Meatball down, then hurry to the front door and fling it open. Dad's bent over, grabbing bags from the trunk of his car. I walk down the path to help. It's so bright and sunny I have to shield my eyes with my forearm, but I can make out the back of Dad's t-shirt. The King Pines. I laugh out loud, realizing it was probably supposed to read the King Pins for one of the local bowling teams. Dad and his mom, Grandmom Ruth, run a t-shirt screen printing business. We've got you covered. And sometimes orders get messed up. Because Dad hates to waste anything, we all end up wearing his mistakes. My favorite was when a group of senior citizens asked Dad to make matching shirts for their upcoming vacation with the words, the bus trippers. Dad goofed up the spacing and the shirts ended up saying, the boo strippers. He had to redo the whole order. Those shirts got tossed, though, because Dad said there was no way any of us were wearing those rejects. It's funny how one little letter can make such a big difference in the meaning. Grandpop Bob, who started the business with Grandmom Ruth about 1,000,000 years ago, used to say, words have the power to change the world. Use them carefully. After 2 years without him, I still miss him and his wise words. I'm reaching my hand out to help when Dad turns toward me, each of his hands loaded with grocery bags. I hold my breath, hoping Dad understands how much this means to me, hoping that this time will be different. That, Timothy, what the hell are you doing? I deflate like a week-old balloon. Practicing, Dad. I'm practicing being me. You know the rule, he says, letting out a huge breath. You can't be outside the house dressed like that. Dad shifts the bags in his hands. Where's your mother? I let my arms fall slack to my sides. I wouldn't have the energy to carry in the groceries now if I wanted to. And I certainly don't have the energy to answer Dad. He should know Mom's at her yoga studio. It's not my job to remind him of her schedule. Go back in the house, Tim. Dad sounds like the air has leaked out of him, too. I hate that I caused it. What if one of your classmates sees you? Imagine how they'd make fun of you when school starts. Get in now. Go. They already make fun of me, Dad. He looks around. Someone's coming. Hurry up. All right, so that is about half of chapter 1 that I wanted to share with you. And just a couple of reminders. Sorry, I didn't want to end that just yet. If you've not watched one of my book talks before, If you have, you can skip this next slide. But if you haven't, if you go to the library Symbaloo, my book talks, my virtual book talks are linked there. And to log in to McAnvia, which is right to the left of that tile, it's your 6-digit username and your 6-digit password without the BCS. Once you log into McAnvia, on the landing page, click Groups on the left. It's in the little orange rectangle. And then click the first group that's listed, which is Mrs. Temperley's Virtual Chats. Also, McAnvia has a free app from your app store. It's iOS and Android friendly. Again, just set it up on your phone. You just need your 6-digit username and your 6-digit password, just like if you were on your Chromebook. Okay, so I hope you found that chat book talk interesting and might look at reading Lily and Duncan. And I will be back again this Friday to share another book from another genre with you. So in the meantime, please be safe, practice social distancing, and please find time to attend to your academic needs. And if you do have some time left over like that, after that, please read if you can. So I will talk to you all again on Friday. Thanks for watching.